Radhe Radhe, Dandava Pranam. Welcome to Shri Radha Bino Bihari Mandir, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Srila Gurudeva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga ki jai, Patit Pavana Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Bino Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Harinama Sankirtana ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. Dandava Pranam all Vaishnavas. Can you hit that light there?
Hit it.
Turn it on. Not that one. That one.
Oh.
No, it's there.
There we
Thank
go.
you. So, we just discovered that our clock was off by about 4 minutes. It was just the last minute. So, anyhow. Now we will begin with Mangalacarana. Mangalacarana is the auspicious invocation, calling on the grace, the presence, the mercy, the sidelong glances of our beloved Gurudeva, our beloved Srila Prabhupada, our Rupa Anuga Gaudiya Guru Varga, Shri Nityananda Prabhu, Shri Sachinandan Gaura Hari, Caitanya Mahāprabhu, going all the way back to the original Guru who is Krishna himself, and his Guru of Prem, Vrishabhanunandini, Srimati Radha Thakurani. As you find in Sri Caitanya Charitamrita, Krishna is stating, Radhikar Prema Guru Ame Shishya Nata. Radhika is my Guru of Prem, and I'm simply her dancing pupil. She makes me dance according to her tune. So we will call on all of these divine personalities for their mercy and their grace and their presence. Beginning on page 1 of this beautiful bhajan treasure trove, Shri Gaudiya Gita Guccha, Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam. And if you look, Jiva Pavana Prabhu has already posted the Mangalacharan. Rudra Prabhu has already posted the shlok from Sri Caitanya Charitamrita. And all Vaishnavas are present. And we were able to secure some lotus flowers today for offering their lordships. Lordships. Thakurji has a slightly different connotation than lordship. Lord means generally like master. Thakurji is more like the beloved of my heart. So there's a different kind of mood there. Even in that bhajan by Mira, Ali Mohe Lage Vrindavana Niko, technically the original was Ghar Ghar Tulasi Thakura Puja. So in every house there is puja of Thakurji in Vrindavan. But we, from the first time I've ever heard it, Krishna Das Prabhu was singing and all of the Vaishnavas saying, Ghar Ghar Tulasi Thakura Seva. The Seva has a very different mood or different meaning than puja. Puja is generally worship according to rules and regulations of Shastra. It can be considered more along the lines of Vaidhi Bhakti. And Seva literally means to offer one's heart in love and affection. So there's a difference in bhav. So from the moment we came to our Gurudev, we saw that everyone was calling their deities, because that's what we called them before. We called them the deities. And I never really thought about it. Deity means forms of God. Deus or deity means forms of God. And we came to our Gurudev and everyone was calling their deities, Thakurji. And so the mood was a bit more intimate. Of course, we recognize that this is God, but we also want to recognize or be able to move on the platform of love without fear. Love without fear is preferable to Krishna, preferable to the devotee, and more true to the nature of love than love with fear and awe and reverence covering it. So, yes, JJ, Shri Vigraha. Okay. So Mangalacharan, page 1. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitang Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parjana Sahitam Krishna Caitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitangscha Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayaniti Namine Shri Krishna Leela Katane Sudaksham Audarya Madhurya Gunaischa Yuktam Varam Varenyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Tvang Shirashan Namami Tridandinam Bhakta Shiromanincha Shri Krishna Pada Vidataika Hriddi Chaitanya Leela Amrita Sarasaram Narayanam Tvang Satatam Prapadye Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Gaura Presthaya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyana Teshava Itti Namine Ati Martya Charitraya Svashritanam Chapaline Jiva Dukhe Sadartaya Shri Nama Premadayine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Dayitaya Kripabdhaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnano Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryo Jvala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virudhapa Siddhanta Dhvantaharine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambha Rasambodhe Padambujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchiranandanamine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugabbarayate Gaura Virbhava Bhumestvam Nirdeshtha Sajana Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jaganathayate Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krpa sindhubhya eva cha patitanang pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantho Radha Kanthan Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Jayatang Surato Pango Mama Mandam Matergati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radha Madana Mohano Divyad Brindaranya Kalpadrumada Srimad Ratnagara Singhasanastho Shri Shri Radha Srila Govinda Deva Preshthali Sevyamano Smarami Shri Mandra Sarasarambhi Vangshivatatastitaha Karshan Menu Swanar Gopir Gopinatha Shri Estunaha Vrindaye Tulasi Devyai Priyaye Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatyai Namo Namaha. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamritashvadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Harer Nam Harer Nam Harer Nam Eva Kevalam Kalu Nastyeva 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 Gatiranyatha. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare. Dandava Pranama Vaishnava. So now we will call out for the mercy and grace of Shri Gurudev. I just see a quick question here. I was explained to previously that we are to worship the deities in the mood of Lakshmi Narayan with Aishwarya. How is it different with Thakurji? Technically, for any new aspiring devotee, because their level of qualification is not so high, when they are even worshipping the forms of Radha and Krishna, this is what I have read and heard from Srila Prabhupada, that worship will go to Lakshmi Narayan. Because we don't have pure love in our heart, we don't have proper honor and proper respect for all Vaishnavas, we don't understand this or that, so many things are lacking in our approach. There is a qualification for worshipping Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. Even our Gurudev said, if we're cooking something, thinking, oh, I'm going to enjoy this, my family is going to enjoy it, but first, let me put it in front of the deities and ring the bell and ask them to take something. But first in my mind, I've already enjoyed it and offered it to my family. He said then Krishna will tell Narayan, oh, someone's ringing a bell. You should go and remove the karma from that and make it prasad. Krishna himself is only attracted to pure love and affection, but Narayan may accept that offering. Krishna will tell him go. So the joke became ding ding Narayan, right? You put a piece of fruit and you ring the bell, but really you're thinking, I want to enjoy this. The way to approach Krishna is very different. No mood of I want to enjoy for myself, and every mood of how to give him transcendental happiness and pleasure and benefit. So from the beginning perspective of spiritual life, as one is starting and also as one is progressing, there must be proper following of rules and regulations. Vaidhi Bhakti Sadhana. And even after, let's say, the attainment of Raganuga Sadhana, where a mood of spontaneous love and affection manifests internally, still the external will appear like that. And we've seen with our acharyas, there are a few exceptions where sometimes you'd be like, whoa, like with Gauridas Pandit, sometimes Nityananda Prabhu and Mahaprabhu are on the altar, and then they made replicas of themselves, and then the originals got up and started walking away. He said, wait, you come back and you go. And he didn't know who was who anymore. Basically, they did that game with him to figure out which one was the real one, where are Gauranitai. And so, for such personalities, or the Chobe Brahmani who was cooking for Madan Gopal and her son, and using that same stick which she was using for stirring khichdi to brush her teeth with on the other side, right? Because they used, in India traditionally, or around the world traditionally, before toothbrushes were invented, they used to chew on the end of a stick until it became fibrous, and then they would use that for brushing. So she would chew on that, brush, and then stir like this. And when Sanatana Goswami saw that the deity, Madan Gopal, was playing with her son like an ordinary boy, and when he had told her that you should serve properly, be showered, don't use your toothbrush for stirring the khichdi, you should be clean and proper and everything to worship the deity. But then he saw that Madan, this Gopal, and her son were pulling on her skirt, crying, saying, we're hungry, why are you taking so long? Then Sanatana Goswami thought, oh, as you are doing, as you have been doing, you should continue. Don't worry for this. The rules and regulations of scriptures, to that extent, are not applicable to those persons who are beyond it. If Krishna is begging in such a way for someone's seva, despite whatever external apparent disqualification there is, then they are beyond the rules and regulations of Shastra. For us, it is required that we follow rules and regulations, lest there be seva aparad. And seva aparad can become quite... It can become a kind of twisted fate where it leads to more and more aparad. So one should be very careful to avoid seva aparad. So before taking care of Shalagram and Thakurji and Giriraj, then one should bathe and one should follow some proper rules and regulations of Shastra. And of course, there should be a mood of awe and reverence. Something should be there. There must be. And we definitely have awe of them because they are just amazing. We are smitten by them every single day. However, there requires that we should worship them in a particular way, but Srila Gurudeva told us for our Thakurji at home. In the temple there's a certain standard and they are bound to uphold that standard. But for our Thakurji at home, he said that they should be like members of the family. In other words, if you're going to have a snack, make sure they get one too. And generally they should get it first, because they are more respected. They should not fast. But also, he was warning not to be too caught up in all of the rituals that are found in the Archan Deepika. He said, then you will end up doing, what did he say? deity worship instead of Thakur Seva. And if you do all of these more and more and more rituals, then you will be duty bound to maintain that. And if you slack on that, then you will be, you can say, guilty of Seva Aparad. So basically he said, keep it simple and don't become too obsessed or involved with all of the micro rules and regulations and everything, unless you're able to maintain all of that. So he wanted to inspire within our hearts, through his Harikatha, through his own moods, an attraction to serving Krishna with love and affection. That I want to love Krishna, I want to serve Krishna. And regardless of whether one is doing all of the rituals on the external, even with awe and reverence, when that association comes from that person who is in love with Krishna, then that desire awakens in the heart that I also want to love Krishna like that. The external will continue. But he didn't want us just counting circles. 1, 2, 3 to the feet, 4 to the body, 3 to the head, 3 big ones around. He didn't want counting circles. He didn't want us to be like, 100 times with the chamara. He said Krishna will become scared. Oh, you are doing exercise. He said like exercise. And Krishna will become afraid if you're doing it too fast that you might let go and the chamara will fly at him. He said Krishna will go and have a snack, eat somewhere else, and you'll still be there doing your thing like that. So he wanted us to be simple and to somehow develop a mood, an attraction to wanting to love and serve Krishna with love and affection, rather than simply doing it out of ritual and awe and reverence. It might be that our worship is not going all the way yet, but if we don't start enculturing that mood, then it will never come. If we're just doing Vaidhi Bhakti, there is nothing within Vaidhi Bhakti that states that this is the prerequisite or the qualification for Raga Bhakti. In fact, it is not. However, if we avoid that, then we won't be able to, if we avoid our sadhana and following rules and regulations, we also will not be able to receive or be able to follow the order of Gurudev properly. And Gurudev said, if you cannot follow your Gurudev, if you cannot maintain your vows in marriage, if you can't, then how can you do anything in terms of bhakti also? So all of it kind of fits together, that I have made vows, I'm going to follow, I'm going to take care. And worship is there, but for those who are following in the path of Rupa Goswami, we should also be endeavoring to enculture under the guidance and association of Vaishnavas a mood of love and affection. And only by love and affection is Krishna to be served. And today I was just reading Saranga Sharanagati Hoibe Jahar Tahara Prarthana Shune Sri Nandakumar. Those persons who have this mood of complete surrender, Sharanagati, Krishna himself of Vrindavan, Sri Nandakumar will hear their prayers. Those who have this mood of loving service to Krishna. But those who have any other mood, any other desire, who are worshipping him only out of fear or out of following the rules and regulations of Scripture, but not impelled by love, not impelled by affection, not impelled by devotion. And this is not attractive to him. As he says in Sri Caitanya Charitamrita, I'm not at all attracted to all of the words, the flowery prayers of the Vedas. This doesn't move my heart. But my Brajabasis, even if they chastise me, even if they call me names, oh, this is the sweetest sound, and it fully melts my heart and controls me. I'm paraphrasing what Krishna said. You can post the exact verses if you know their whereabouts. So Gurudev didn't want us to be caught up in all of the circle counting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he actually gave meditations for how to, what is the meaning of arti, and while offering the articles, what is the mood of the offering particular articles, like the incense and the fire and the flowers and the conch and the water, the cloth afterward. What is the mood of all of these articles? What is it in Vatsalya Bhav? What is it in Gopi Bhav? So there's a big difference between worshipping in a mood of only awe and reverence, or endeavoring to worship in a mood of love and affection. If one is only worshipping in a mood of awe and reverence, it will stay there. If one is endeavoring to worship in a mood of love and affection without fear, then it might be that our worship is only going at this point as far as Lakshmi Narayan, but we will never be satisfied with that. Gurudeva asked, would you be satisfied only knowing that only Paramatma is hearing your prayers? This was in Sri Damodarashtakam, I believe. Only Paramatma? You're calling for Krishna. Krishna is the source of 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 Paramatma. And Paramatma is there as a witness. But Paramatma is not. Even though he is the same as Krishna, he is not the same as Krishna. In terms of tattva, yes. In terms of rasa, millions of miles different. And we're searching after the source of all ras, Akila Rasamrita Murti. That is the reservoir of transcendental nectar, or the reservoir of pleasure. That is Krishna. To love and serve Krishna. Yes, JJ, perfect. Like Krishna and Vidurani. When Krishna went to the house of Vidura, Vidura's wife Vidurani was there, and she was offering him what she thought was banana, with tears flowing from her eyes, her heart melting with love and affection and prem, and being in a state of transcendental delusion, she was unable to differentiate between the banana and the peel. She was peeling the banana, throwing away the banana, and offering the peel to Krishna with love and affection. And Krishna doesn't need food. He is the source of everything. But one thing he craves, that is the love of his devotees. And that's really what he eats. Via any medium, that food is the representative of the medium through which my love and affection is transmitted to Krishna. Whatever I'm offering, that should be the medium of the love and affection that I am presenting. In the same way that you might offer a gift to anyone that you care about on their birthday or on a Christmas or Valentine's Day, you want to give something which will make them happy and please them. So this is part of what builds relationship. Tadati pratigrinnati guhyamakyati prichiti bhunkte bhojayate chaiva shadvidham pratilakshana. Yes, the love of his devotees is his sustenance. That is what Krishna thrives upon. And that's why he can't help himself but to steal butter, because that is the medium by which their love and affection is being transmitted to him. As they are making that butter, they're only thinking Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. So, thank you for asking that question, Anjali. They're only putting their love and affection and praying that Krishna will come and take that. And so all of their love is being presented into that form. That is the form of their love. And Krishna is stealing. He's greedy to go and take that love and affection, which they are deposited in that form. Okay, Gurudev. The camera seems to keep focusing on the window. Maybe because I'm moving or shifting, the light changes. 1 second. That didn't help. That might be better. Nope, it's too late now. Now you know. The curtain came down. Okay. The whole thing came down. They said that the camera is pulsating. You know what? Srimati Radhika's skirt's getting cut. That's the problem. And Rudra's not there to...
Maybe it's also this candle. Maybe that's doing it. Maybe I should turn it this way. See if that helps a little bit. So if you can just let us know, did the pulsating stop a bit?
There we go.
Is it better?
I don't know. I haven't noticed it on mine. Okay, take it. Gurudeva Krpa Bindu Diya, page 32, by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And I was about to play the harmonium.
So far, so good.
Okay.
So, okay, here's the candle.
I ripped the curtains off the...
Oh.
Gurudev Krpa Bindu Diya Kurve Dasi Trinape Khayoti No Gurudev Krpa Bindu Diya Kurve Dasi Trinape Khayoti Sakala Sahani Balladiya Koro Nijamane Sprihahino Sakala Sahani Balladiya Koro Nijamane Sprihahino Kripa Bindu Diya Kurve Dasi Trinapekshayoti No Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Kurve Dasi Trinapekshayoti No Sakale Soman Kurite Shakati Dehonatho Jatha Jatha Sakale Soma Kurite Shakati Dehonatho Jatha Jatha Tabe to gaibo Harinamo Sukhe Tabe to gaibo Harinamo Sukhe Aparadha have hato Aparadha have hato Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Kurve Dasi Trinape kritartho hoibe natho kabeheno kripa lobhiyaye jano kritartho hoibe natho shakti buddhi amiyati din shakti buddhi amiyati din kuru more atma satho kuru more atma satho Gurudev kripa bindu diya kuru dasi trinapekshayoti no Gurudev kripa bindu diya kuru dasi trinapekshayoti no yogyata vichare kichu nahi paye tomaro karuna saro yogyata vichare kichu nahi paye tomaro karuna saro karuna na huile kadiya kadiya karuna na huile kadiya kadiya prano na rakhibo aro prano na rakhibo aro Gurudev kripa bindu diya kuru dasi trinapekshayoti no Gurudev kripa bindu diya kuru dasi trinapekshayoti no Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Prabhupada 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 Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Parampara Guru Parampara Srila Gurudeva ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga ki jai Shri Guru Parampara ki jai Sudevi, can you come move the candle from directly in front of Mahaprabhu to just on the side?
Where?
Well, just to the side. Or here. There we go. So is it better to pronounce Trinapeksha or Trinapekha? I've heard both and wondered what the difference was. Technically, if you were to sing as a authentic person from Bengal would sing it, then you would say Trinapekha, because they don't pronounce the sha in the ksha. In Sanskrit, you would say ksha, Lakshmi, Kshetragya, Kshatriya. But Bengal, you would say in fact, even in Bengali particular dialect, they don't pronounce the M when it comes after the KSA, KSM, and Lakshmi. It becomes, interestingly enough, Lucky. I wonder where the word lucky comes from. So they would say Trina Pekha Yotihin. When you hear Gurudev singing it, because he was also living there, although he's from Bihar, still he was singing Trina Pekha Yotihina. But for sometimes, even Krishnadas Prabhu, although he is from Bengal, he would sing Trinapeksha, depending. Different times he would say it one way or say it the other way. So there are many places where that is. Let me see any other. Anyway, there are many bhajans where you have the K, the S with the dot, and the A, which is ksha. If you were singing it in Sanskrit, you would pronounce it like Kamalaksha. Means aksha means eyes, and Kamala means lotus. But if you were reading that as a Bengali, you would say Kamalakko, like that. So depends, because that's not my mother tongue. I sing it a certain way, and I don't even know exactly how to pronounce it perfectly. So I do the best I can. But sometimes it's interchangeable. It means the same thing, but I tend to have a Sanskritic pronunciation even within my whatever little Hindi I speak, and also within the Bengali. It was quite interesting. Many years ago, we were in Vancouver at the house of Raghbir Prabhu, Mamaji we call him, and we were singing Gurudev Krpa Karke Mujhko Apna Lena. But back in those days, we were saying Gurudev Krpa Koroke. And they said, your Hindi sounds good, but it has a slight Bengali accent to it. And I thought, yeah, because we were always sitting next to Krishnadas Prabhu, Tamal Krishna Prabhu, who were from Bengal, as they would sing the Hindi bhajans. So we learned our Hindi bhajans with the Bengali accent. So that was quite interesting. So technically, it is Trinapeksha, but Bengali pronunciation would be Trinapekka. Actually, in Bengal, JJ, they don't say Jai or Jayo, and maybe in the Arti Kirtan, but when they normally say Jai, they say joy. Makes me wonder where the word joy came from. So, because all of the A's are also O'd. They all have a O sound because the shape of their mouth, when they're speaking, has that O-ness to it. And so all of the O, they don't say A, like in the Hindi or Sanskrit, A, I. It would be O, A, I, like this. So there's always a slight O-ness to their A sound. So instead of Jai, it would be joy. And then sometimes where we, in a Sanskrit or in Hindi, I've heard it also where there's a sha for like the word shadi, which means marriage. They may say sari. And for the word sari, which is for the cloth that a lady wears, they sh that, so it becomes a shadi. It almost sounds reverse. And Sudevi, who is, well, Su means super, and Devi means goddess. And she's Sudevi Dasi, servant of the supreme goddess. But in Bengal, because most of the sas are should, they turn it into a sh. So she is called Shu Devi. which from my hearing sounds like the goddess of the shoes, but Sudevi. So it just depends on where your accent is from. So different accents, even for Krishna. If you go to Orissa, you have Krishna. In Sanskrit, the re is ru. So you'll hear it differently there. It's Krishna. And in other parts, like Sridhar Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Sridhar Maharaj, he's also from Orissa, but he says Krishna. And I've heard other people say Krishna. And so it just depends on where you're from. The accents are different. Krishna himself, I say it like that because that's how I heard it from my Gurudeva at the time of initiation. He said Krishna. So Krishna is the smartest of all smart persons, and he is able to accept the devotion regardless of someone's apparent mispronunciation. If someone doesn't know how to say it properly, as we've heard in the history of Valmiki, previously, in a previous life, he was so sinful. He was killing animals. It was like the story of Mrigari. He would maim them. He was also killing humans. He was very, very sinful. When Narada Muni saw him, he told him, you need to be careful. You should start chanting the name of the Lord. You will suffer in very, very terrible situations. It's best you start chanting the names of the Lord. And Valmiki, it is said, was so sinful that he could not even pronounce the name of Ram. That's how sinful he was. So instead of saying Ram, Narada Muni said, whoa, can you say Mara? Mara means death or to kill. He said, sure, Mara, no problem. That's what I do all the time. He said, you chant that. So with faith in the words of his guru, Narada Muni, he gave him an order. He was chanting it, Mara, 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 Mara. After many thousands of years, gradually his heart was becoming purified. And then this Mara, 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 Mara turned into Ram Nam. And by this Ram Nam, his heart became so pure that he was able to witness all of the pastimes of Sri Ram. And he actually was able to write the Ramayana before Sri Ram performed and manifested these pastimes. Up to a certain point, he wrote them. Up to the point where he was. And then after that, that was left for his next incarnation as Tulsidas. What happened afterward. The second part. So, Krishna can accept and will accept. If you go to Germany, the pronunciation is different for Gurudev because of the R. It's a different R. It's a Guru, it's in the back of the throat. Gurudev, Narahari. Like that. It's different than you might say in India, Narahari or Gurudev. So, and then of course, you've got the Americanized pronunciation of Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, versus the Indian one, Hare Krishna, which is a rolled R. And if you're having a hard time, just use the American pronunciation for butter, and then superimpose that R of butter onto the Hare and the Krishna, and then you will have a more accurate pronunciation. Something else I wanted to share, but it has left me for now. So we will call out for the mercy of the Vaishnavas. Srila Prabhupada did not complain that the devotees were mispronouncing things. One time, he did say something. When they were chanting, Bande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Bande Guru instead of Guru. And he said, your sentiment is appreciated, but it's not always nice to hear the Guru being referred to as a Goru. Goru means cow or any dumb animal. So he said it in a nice way to teach the devotees that, the switch between the O and the U, instead of Guru, they turned it to Goru. And so he mentioned it, but in a Yes, in India, when the Indians try to chant the Mahamantra like the Americans, it turns into Krishna. Hare Krishna. So that's also difficult. But, as I said before, if someone is sincere and they're making that honest endeavor, if Krishna can accept the banana peel of Vidurani and enjoy that more than the banana because of her love and affection, and his name is non-different from himself, if someone is approaching Krishna but they're not able to pronounce his name absolutely perfectly, look at Mahaprabhu. He's trying to call Jagannath, but what is he saying? Jaga gaga, jaga gaga. His voice is choking up. Krishna appreciates that even more. If someone is weeping and crying and can't even say the name, only Krishna, like this, and weeping and crying, or voice is choking up, tears are flowing from their eyes, this is so much more attractive to Krishna than every perfectly pronounced word of the scriptures. Just one Krishna with love is millions of times more attractive to him than millions of prayers done without love, perfectly pronounced. So the important thing is the devotion, and that devotion can be had and awakened in the association of and by the mercy of his pure devotees. Bhakta sanjataya bhakta. Bhakti comes or is awakened by bhakti, as fire awakens fire in wood. How do you get the fire in wood to manifest? You present fire to it, and then it manifests. In the same way, love for the Lord is awakened by those who have that. So association with the Lord's devotees is the most essential thing. See, I grew up in Los Angeles, where half of the devotee population there was from Mexico. And so Shri Guru Charana Padma was E Babatori Ayai, Krishna Prapti Hoy Jaha Hoite. And so years later when I was reading it, it said E Bhavaturiya Jai. And I was like, why were they saying Yai? I didn't even realize it or know. We all were just saying E Bhavaturiya Yai. And later on I realized, okay, because the way they pronounce the J is Ya. Right? So they were saying Yai. But so the intention, maybe there was some mistaken pronunciation, but this is not the important thing. One would endeavor, if they know that they're mispronouncing, to try to pronounce properly, but if their body or their own language or their throat or anything does not allow that, the Russian pronunciation is different than the French pronunciation, is different than the Italian pronunciation. I was giving a lecture in Italy, and the devotee who was translating, I said, today is the appearance of Gadadhar Pandit. And the devotee translating said, today, in Italian, today is the appearance of Gadadhara Pandita. And I was like, okay. We were like, whoa, Gadadhara Pandita, okay. But that's their expression. And when they say that, they think of Gadadhar Pandit. So that's great. So now we will call for the mercy of the Vaishnavas, and please forgive me for any of my mispronunciations. O He Vaishnava Thakura, page 39 by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. One thing I wanted to share. When Srila Gurudeva was in his last few months, there were devotees outside doing Kirtan with so much sincerity, so much affection, and sometimes so much mispronunciation. And even to the point where sometimes people would be even like kind of thinking, it's cute, and they might have even been laughing. But when you saw those devotees and how Gurudev would reciprocate and accept their simple-hearted love and affection, those devotees from China, there were some, you could say, mispronunciations in their words. Jaya Jaya Gurudev. And even the R sounded a little like a rolled L. But their mood was so sweet and so devoted, your heart just melted. And that's the point. When a baby is trying to say something, trying to speak its first words to its mother or its father, and it says something and it doesn't say it right, it is the source of the greatest sweetness, heart-melting, affection-moving thing. The parents' hearts overflow with parental love and affection when that child is making that endeavor, and that's the point. Gurudev said to try is bhakti. So making that endeavor is so important. O he Vaisnava Thakura, Doyaro Sagaro, Edase Karuna Kori. Vaisnava Thakura, Doyaro Sagaro, Edase Karuna Kori. Diya Pada Chaya, Shodho he amare, Tomaro charana dhori. Diya Pada Chaya, Shodho he amare, Tomaro charana dhori. Vaisnava Thakura, Doyaro Sagaro, Edase Karuna Kori. Vaisnava Thakura, Doyaro Sagaro, Edase Karuna Kori. Chaya Vegadom, Chaya Dosha Shodhi, Chai Guna Deho Dase. Chai Vega Domi, Chaya Dosha Shodhi, Chai Guna Deho Dase. Chaya Sato Sanga, Deho He Amare, Boshe Chi Sangero Yashe. Chaya Sato Sanga, Deho He Amare, Boshe Chi Sangero Yashe. O He Vaishnava Thakura, Doyaro Sagaro, Edase Karuna Kori. Vaishnava Thakura, Doyaro Sagaro, Edase Karuna Kori. Ekaki ama nahi payabo, Hari Nama Sankirtane. Thakura, Doyaro Sagaro, Edase Karuna Kori. Vaishnava Thakura, Doyaro Sagaro, Edase Karuna Kori. Verse 3 again. Ekaki ama nahi paiba Hari Nama Sankirtane Ekaki ama nahi paiba Hari Nama Sankirtane Tumi Krpa Kori Shraddha Bindu Diya Deho Krishna Namo Dhare Tumi Krpa Kori Shraddha Bindu Diya Deho Krishna Namo Dhare Ohe Vaishnava Thakura Doyaro Sagara Edase Karuna Kori Vaishnava Thakura Doyaro Sagara Edase Karuna Kori Krishna se toma Krishna dite paro Tomar shakati ache Krishna se tomar Krishna dite paro Tomar shakati ache Amito Ganga Krishna Krishna boli Dhai to pache pache Amito Ganga Krishna Krishna boli Dhai to pache pache Ohe Vaishnava Thakura Doyaro Sagaro Edase Karuna Kori Vaishnava Thakura Doyaro Sagaro Edase Karuna Kori Vaishnava Thakur Jayo Vaishnava Thakur Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Prabhu Kripa Koro More Doya Koro 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 All Vaishnava Thakurs ki Jai. Yes, we have a confirmation from a mom, especially when those children say Radhe Radhe or Jai Gurudev or I love you, Te amo, you are my heart, eres mi corazón. It melts the hearts of the parents, even if they don't pronounce it perfectly. I was remembering when I saw that, because it says I love you. Krishna Das Prabhu used to say, hello, how are you, to me, but very quickly. And he said, hello, how are you? How do I? He thought it sounded the same as I love you. Hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? He thought it sounded the same. So it's different for every individual. We hear what we hear. But most important thing is the mood in the heart. And as the mood in the heart is increasing, then naturally the proof of the mood in the heart increasing is that one will always endeavor to increase the quality of their seva. Always endeavoring to increase or to refine that quality. Because the nature of the devotee is that they always feel humble, that what I have done, it is not enough. Let me do better next time. Let me always improve. Always improve that quality of my seva. And that comes naturally as a result of increasing love and affection. Always trying to improve that. Always trying to increase the happiness and the pleasure of the object of one's love and affection. And so naturally, this would also include making that endeavor, making the endeavor to try to pronounce, to try to learn the ways, the nature, the language, the moods, the culture of the object of my love and affection. And also to apply that to myself. In the beginning it starts with Gurudeva. Why did the devotees start wearing dhotis and kurtas and saris and tilak? And like, when Srila Prabhupada saw it, he said, you look like denizens of Vaikuntha. It was so pleasing to him. And so they were all wearing that to please him. He didn't require that in the beginning, but they wanted to serve him and to please him. So they started dressing in a certain way, started adopting all of the cultural traits, started eating rice, dal, sabji and chapatis. Back in the day, they weren't eating everything else. It was Indian food. But that's what they would offer to Krishna. That's what they were imbibing from their Guru Maharaj. Trying to serve like he was serving. And so applying everything, all of the conceptions, the moods, the thoughts, Vedic culture, everything, Mahamantra, Harinam Sankirtan, everything was surrounding or with Krishna in the center. And therefore, everyone's lifestyles completely changed to accommodate Krishna's. Why waking up so early in the morning? Because that's Krishna's lifestyle. Why is the milk prasadam or the last thing so late? That's Krishna's schedule. Why is lunch prasadam when it is? Well, it's after Krishna eats, which is after a certain time. In the sandhya, then there's arti, and then there's lunch prasadam. We take after Krishna. So following Krishna's schedule, we apply ourselves. Following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's following Krishna's schedule, then we apply ourselves. And becoming more and more Krishna conscious, absorbing Krishna's culture, this is known as Krishna Sangsar. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, right, we're already present within the Sangsar of Maya. He says, Krishnera Sangsar Koro. Enter into Krishna Sangsar. Means your whole life should be revolving around Krishna. He should be your center. Chari anachar. Give up all other nonsense. Jive doya. Be merciful to the jivas. Krishna Nam. Always chant the holy name of Krishna. Sarva dharma sar. This is the essence of all forms of religion. So gradually, our own material attachments, I and mine, this body, this family, this city, this state, this country, all of that illusion, this will be given up as we are embracing the culture of Krishna. And as we're embracing that more and more, our language will become Krishna language. Everything will be Krishna conscious, conscious of Krishna. Our food will be Krishna food. Our activities will be Krishna activities. Our everything will be about or focused on Krishna. And the more and more that takes place, the more and more we will realize we are no longer of all of this plane. Like Gurudeva told me at the time of initiation, you are no longer of this world. Now you are in Achyuta Gotra. This is the Gotra or the family lineage of Achyutananda or of Krishna. You're in Krishna's family now. So everything else, all the material thing, leave behind. You have entered into this family. That is the meaning of Diksha. Transcendental rebirth, so to speak. And so the more we progress into Krishna's culture, One day, hopefully, we will find ourselves within Krishna's own personal culture. And what is that? That is Vrindavan, surrounded by Krishna's transcendental eternal associates, and his cows, and his Govardhan, and his Yamuna, and his friends, and his parents, and his gopis, and his Srimati Radhika. We will be in that association. So one day, hopefully. And Sri Gurudeva has given us hope for this and assurance of attaining that. We just must hold on and not let go. What did you say, Sudevi? Yes. Now we will call for the mercy of Srila Rupa Goswami. Hari He Sri Rupa Gosai. Page 199 by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, based on the 8th verse of Upadeshamrita by Srila Rupa Goswami. Tannam Rupa Charitari Sukirtananu Smrityokramena Rasanamana Sinniyojya Tishtam Brajetad Anuragi Jananagami Kalam Nayad Akilam Ityupadesha Saram. Anjali, when I said Gurudev has told us and given us assurance of that, I was referencing the verse Nama Shreshtham Manumapi Sachiputramatra Swarupam, with the commentary by Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. Yes, Rudra Gupta, please remind me of Vraja Jantmana Sukhari. Hopefully I won't forget. So 199, Hari He Sri Rupa Gosai. Hari He Shri Rupa Gosai Shri Guru Rupete Shiksha Dila Moro Kane. Hari He Shri Rupa Gosai Shri Guru Rupete Shiksha Dila Moro Kane. Jano Moro Katha Namero Kangano Rati Pabe Namo Gane. Jano Moro Katha Namero Kangano Rati Pabe Namo Gane. Shri Rupa Gosai Shri Guru Rupete Shiksha Dila Moro Kane. Hari He Shri Rupa Gosai Shri Guru Rupete Shiksha Dila Moro Kane. Krishna Namo Rupa Guna Sucharita Paramo Jatane Kori. Krishna Namo Rupa Guna Sucharita Paramo Jatane रसना मानसे करहो निजोग रसना मानसे करहो निजोग क्रम विधि अनुसारी क्रम विधि अनुसारी ब्रजे कोरिवास रागानुगा होइया स्मरण कीर्तन कोरो ब्रजे कोरिवास रागानुगा होइया स्मरण कीर्तन कोरो ए निखिल कालो करहो जापन ए निखिल कालो करहो जापन उपदेश सारो धरो उपदेश सारो धरो ओहारूप गोसाई दया करी कवे दिबे दीने ब्रजवासा हारूप गोसाई दया करी कवे दिबे दीने ब्रजवासा रागात्मिक तुमी तव पदानुग रागात्मिक तुमी तव पदानुग होइते दासेरो याश होइते दासेरो आशा हरि हे श्री रूप गोसाई श्री गुरु रूपेते शिक्षा दिला मोरो काने ओ श्री रूप गोसाई श्री गुरु रूपेते शिक्षा दिला मोरो काने रूप गोस्वामी प्रभु रूप गोस्वामी 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 प्रभु हे 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 श्री रूप गोस्वामी पाद की जय श्री सद गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय रूपानुग गुरु वर्ग की जय Thank you, Ramya Devidasi, for posting that. Namashreshta Manamapi. Very, very beautiful meaning there and translation. Now we will call for the mercy of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. And we have some devotees we need to alert. पतित पावन श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय। Aakrodha Paramananda Nityananda Rai, page 60, by Srila Lochan Das Thakur. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Aakrodha Paramananda Nityananda Rai Aakrodha Paramananda Nityananda Rai Abhimano Shunya Nitai Nagare Berai Abhimano Shunya Nitai Nagare Berai Adhamma Patita Jive Dware Dware Giya Adhamma Patita Jive Dware Dware Giya Hari Namo Mahamantra Dicheno Bilaya Hari Namo Mahamantra Dicheno Bilaya Jare dekhe tare kohe tante trino dhori jare dekhe tare kohe dante trino dhori amare ki niyalo ho bolo gora hari amare ki niyalo ho bolo gora hari eto boli nityananda bhume gari jayo eto boli nityananda bhume gari jayo sonaro parbato jeno dhulate lotai sonaro parbato jeno dhulate lotai heno yavatare ja pratina janmino heno yavatare ja pratina janmino लोचन बोले से वचन बोले से पापी लो यारो ये लो अक्रोध परमानंद नित्यानंद राय अक्रोध परमानंद नित्यानंद राय अभिमानो शून्य नेताय नगरे बेराय अभिमानो शून्य नेताय नगरे बेराय निताय हे 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 ओ जय नित्यानंद राम जय नित्यानंद राम नित्यानंद राम जय नित्यानंद राम नित्यानंद राम नित्यानंद राम नित्यानंद राम जय नित्यानंद राम पतित पावन श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय। Now we will call for the mercy of Sri Sachinandan Gaura Hari. The Sanskrit bhajans. Sakhe Kalaya Gurumudaram, page 340 by Sri Radha Mohan Das. Sakhe Kalaya Goramudaram Sakhe Kalaya Goramudaram Sakhe Kalaya Goramudaram Sakhe Hato ko kanti kale baro Malati mandita Jita ghano kunchita kesham 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 Tilaka vinindita shashadhara rupaka Tilaka vinindita shashadhara rupaka Bhuvano manoharo vesha Bhuvano manoharo vesham Tilaka vinindita shashadhara rupaka Bhuvano manoharo vesha Bhuvano manoharo vesham Sakhe kalayo goramudaram Sakhe kalayo goramudaram Madhu madhura smito lobhito tanubhritam Madhu madhura smito lobhito tanubhritam Anupamo bhava vilasam 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 Nidhuvano nagari mohita manaso Nidhuvano nagari mohita manaso Vikatito gado gado bhasha Vikatito gado gado bhasham Nidhuvano nagari mohita manasa Vikatito gado gado bhasha Vikatito gado gado bhasham Sakhe kalayo goramudaram Sakhe kalayo goramudaram Paramaya kinchano kinchano naragano Paramaya kinchano kinchano naragano Karuna vitarano shilam 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 Shobhita Sakhe Kalayo Goramudaram Sakhe Kalayo Goramudaram Sakhe Kalayo Goramudaram Sakhe Kalayo Goramudaram Nindita Hataka Kanti Kalevara Nindita Hataka Kanti Kalevara Garavito Maru Kumarum Garavito Maru Kumarum Nindita Hataka Kanti Kalevara Garavito Maru Kumarum Garavito Maru Kumarum Sakhe Kalaya Goramudaram Sakhe Kalaya Goramudaram O Sakhe Kalaya Goramudaram Sakhe Kalaya Goramudaram Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari Gaura He 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 Prem Purushottam Shri Sachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai. What's the time? Okay. So now we're going to call for the mercy of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna together in the form of the prayer and glorification of Radhe Shyam Shyama Shyam. By our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj, Vraja Jana Mana Sukhari Radhe Shyam 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 Shyama Shyam. Radhe Shyam means Radha Krishna, and Shyama Shyam means Radha Krishna. So there's a difference between Shyama and Shyam. And it was requested that we sing it in the tune that Srila Gurudev said was the one that was in his heart when the bhajan manifested. And I'm not trying to start anything, making any trend or anything. It was just that I ran to him and asked him that question at the end of one festival in Germany. Which tune was in your heart when you wrote Vraja Janamana? And he said, what tune? And I gave him the one tune, and he said, no. And he said another, and I gave him a different tune, and he said, no. And then I gave him the third tune, and he's like, yes, that one. So that is the one that we will call out this evening. Not that he did not appreciate the other one, he certainly did. So the first choice I gave him was the one that we normally sing. Vraja Janamana Sukhari Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam. And he's like, no. And the next one was Vraja Janamana Sukhari Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam. And he was like, no. Third one, Vraja Janamana Sukhari Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam. And he said, yes, that one. So that's the one we're going to do. Page 366. Vraja Jana Mana Sukhari Radhe Shyam Shyama Shyam by Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Vraja Jana Mana Sukhari Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam Radhe Vraja Jana Mana Sukhari Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam Radhe Vraja Jana Mana Sukhari Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam O Radhe Vraja Jana Mana Sukhari Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam Moram Mukutama Krita Kundala Kalavajanti Mala Krita Kundala Galavajanti Mala Charananupura Rasal Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam Radhe Charananupura Rasal Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam Radhe Vraja Jana Mana Sukhari Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam Radhe Vraja Jana Mana Sukhari Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam Sundara Vadana Kamala Dalla Lochana Panki Chitta Vanahari Sundara Vadana Kamala Dalla Lochana Panki Chitta Vanahari O Mohana Bangshi Bihari Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam O Radhe Mohana Bangshi Bihari Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam O Radhe Vraja Jana Mana Sukhari Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam Radhe Vraja Jana Mana Sukhari Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam Vrindavana mein Dhenu charave Gopi Jana Manohari Vrindavana mein Dhenu charave Gopi Jana Manohari Shri Govardhana Dhari Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam Radhe Shri Govardhana Dhari Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam Radhe Vraja Jana Mana Sukhari Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam Radhe Vraja Jana Mana Sukhari Radhe Shyama Shyama Shyam Radha Krishna Mili Abado Gaura Rupa Avatari Radha Krishna Mili Abado श्याम श्यामा श्याम राधे कीर्तन धर्म प्रचारी राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम ओ राधे ब्रज जन मन सुखकारी राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम राधे ब्रज जन मन सुखकारी राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम तुम बिना मेरे और न कोई नाम रूप अवतारी तुम बिना मेरे और न कोई नाम रूप अवतारी चरणन में बलिहारी राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम राधे चरणन में बलिहारी राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम राधे नारायण बलिहारी राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम राधे नारायण बलिहारी राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम ओ राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम राधे ब्रज जन मन सुखकारी राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम राधे ब्रज जन मन सुखकारी राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम राधे ब्रज जन मन सुखकारी राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम राधे ब्रज राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम ओ राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम ओ राधे नारायण बलिहारी राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम ओ राधे नारायण बलिहारी राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम ओ राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम ओ राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम ओ राधे ब्रज जन मन सुखकारी राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम ओ राधे ब्रज जन मन सुखकारी राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम राधे ओ राधे श्याम श्यामा श्याम ओ राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम ओ राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम वृषभानुनंदिनी श्रीमती राधा ठाकुरानी की जय। श्री कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय। राधा विनो बिहारी जू की जय। सचिनंदन गौर हरि की जय। श्री गुरुदेव की जय। What's that, Sachit?
No, I asked you last night to do a particular tune. You remember? You said it was like a Christmas tune.
Oh, right. Thank you. See, it helped me.
Special request. Whoa.
I'm trying to remember. So now we've come to that point in our evening, the culmination of all of our praying to Gurudeva, to Vaishnavas, to Nityananda Prabhu, to Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, to Shri Radha and Krishna. We've come to the culmination of all of that, that is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This Mahamantra is no ordinary sound vibration. It is sound vibration, but it is transcendental. And when we connect in love and affection to Krishna, then what will manifest from us will also be the transcendental sound vibration. In other words, by love and affection from within the heart, when we're chanting that Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, it is said that Krishna will come and dance on your tongue. In other words, when that prayer is coming from the heart in a mood of complete surrender, then it is manifesting that highest, purest quality. So Hare Krishna Mahamantra, this greatest mantra, has the capacity to award any desire, to grant anything we want. We should only pray to the sound form of Radha and Krishna for one thing. O Radha, O Krishna, please engage me in your service. Make me yours. I am yours. Make me yours. This is what Srila Prabhupada told us, is the condensed version of the meaning of calling out to Shri Radha and Krishna in the form of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And because it is Radha and Krishna within one container, it is actually known as Jugal Nam. Jugal Nam means together. They have come together, and their meeting and separation is present within this Mahamantra. Another form of their coming together and meeting together is standing right next to them, in the form of Shri Sachinandan Gaurahari. Prem Purushottam, Shri Sachinandan Gaurahari. He is the form of their prem. In other words, Mahamantra and himself are non-different. And how do you worship Shri Sachinandan Gaurahari, who is the Yuga avatar, the avatar for this age? In any age, one would worship the avatar of that age. In this age, Krishna himself has descended in a very special manifestation, not looking like Krishna, Krishna Varnam, Tvisha Krishnam, Tvisha Akrishna. He is Krishna himself, but not looking like Krishna because he is also encapsulated and enraptured with the moods of love and affection that Srimati Radhika has for Krishna. Radha Bhavi Duti Suvalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam. Krishna himself with the moods of Srimati Radharani, therefore manifesting this golden-like complexion. Meditating on Gaurangi, Krishna has become Gauranga. So this same Sri Sachinandan Gaurahari, he's also the form of Mahamantra. And we worship him by chanting this Mahamantra, calling out. It is the sound of the soul crying out in separation from its eternal beloved. There's only one eternal beloved for all souls, and that is Krishna. So calling out this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we should have no other desire, no other hope, no other aspiration other than the greatest thing that Mahamantra can award. Loving service at the lotus feet of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. There we go. Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Shinitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo Srila Gurudeva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga ki jai, Patit Pavana Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Shri Shashinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Dandava Pranam. I don't know if there's a name for it. Actually, it's something we learned when we were quite young. I've never heard a name for it. I don't know the name of the rag or anything. When did you learn that tune?
As a kid.
Yeah.
We sang it when
Yeah.
we were kids.
Used to be sung all the time on Harinams in the temple. Oh, really? Okay. So Devaki once had a tape of that tune. It was called Bengali Bhajans.
Yeah, it's really old. It's an old tune. I mean, almost at least 50 years old.
Right, because we're almost 50. It's so weird. Like, just because we grew up as children in the temple,
All the Prabhupada disciples still consider us those Gurukul kids.
we're still the kids.
They don't look at us like we're going on 50. They just, they even call us kids. Oh, you kids are doing well.
And it leaves that impression inside.
It's like, wait a minute, I'm not almost 50.
Anyhow, it's good. Trying to keep me humble, so we'll see. To have that, the blessings of the senior Vaishnavas on our heads, like
Yes.
we're kids, then we don't get to assert ourselves as full-grown, almost 50-year-old adults.
Yeah.
We're always just like children. Right, Devaki? We're like kids to you.
Well, whenever we're doing programs and I'm sitting in front of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, I always feel I feel stupid and humbled and like, oh my God, it's like my parents were watching me. It's very humbling and it's very good.
Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktāya Tad Bhaktāya Namo Namah Ajnanatimiraandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayaniti Namine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Jai Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate giring yat kripatamaham bande Shri Gurung Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandava Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad, Ashto Tarashata Shri Srimad Shri Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And the same thousands of Dandava Pranam in the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad, Ashto Tarashata Shri Srimad Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and to all of our Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga, and to all Vaishnavas past, present and future, including all of you who are present with us today, we offer our Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam to Vaishnavas. Radhe 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 Shyam.
Radhe Shyam. Jiva Pavana Prabhu, you're not supposed to say that.
What did he say?
He said, but spiritually senior to us in so many ways. I was trying to encourage you to always keep us as your children so that you can help us to, or at least help me to become humble one day. Okay. So, now before entering into Sri Caitanya Bhagavat, we will chant the first verse of Sri Shikshashtakam by Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Everyone please repeat after me. Cheto darpanam arjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam shreya kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadhu jivanam anandam buddhi vardhanam pratipadam purnamritashvadanam sarvatmasnapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam.
Just before we go on to the verse and you enter into Chaitanya Bhagavat, I just want to say that we hold the disciples of Srila Prabhupada as our ideal of what we want to be when we grow up. We will never be able to grow up as that is our ideal. We will never be able to touch that Guru Nishta and that kind of dedication to give up everything like they have. And it is humbling. It's so enlivening that you join us and that you encourage us and that you're always there blessing us. And at the same time, we know that we can never touch the glories of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada's service and dedication to his lotus feet. Even our Gurudeva said, we have never seen the kind of Guru Nishta that he has extracted from his disciples. And we can understand by that how much Nishta Srila Prabhupada had in his Gurudeva, because he was able to give that, infuse that into his disciples. So we see that he did a miracle and they did a miracle, and we are in awe of the miracle that is those disciples. I just wanted to say that, because that is our true and heart's mood for the disciples of Srila Prabhupada.
And our Srila Gurudev always used to request his own disciples that I want that you will serve and dedicate your energy with as much enthusiasm, with as much intention and as much nishtha as the disciples of Srila Prabhupada did for him. And so he was also keeping that as an ideal for us, that we should also serve with that kind of energy. You know, Srila Bhakti Dayita Madhav Goswami Maharaj was given a particular title by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada because of that kind of service, endless intensity of service mood. He said that he is serving with volcanic energy. And growing up as children in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, watching our parents and their godbrothers and godsisters serving Srila Prabhupada, I can attest, and Sudevi also, to the volcanic energy that all of these devotees served Srila Prabhupada with. It was impressive to witness, and it left a massive lasting impression within our hearts, watching that. And it is an ideal, like Sudevi said, that we can't touch, but we can always aspire for.
Srila Gurudev used to say, I want you to serve like them, like they have served. And we just look at that and go, we don't know how. We have no idea. But anyhow, we know them, and we get to hear from them how they serve their Gurudev, and it inspires us more and more. We are so fortunate. So anyway, I just wanted to say that.
I was just remembering there was a time when the devotees needed to move in Los Angeles from one apartment building to the next because they had to fumigate or something. And there was some kind of commotion, and Srila Prabhupada asked what was going on. And I said, oh, the devotees need to shift from one apartment to the next.
Very difficult.
And it's very difficult. And Prabhupada said, what's the problem? You just pick up your bag and move to the next place. And they were like, it's not like that. But I'm actually looking back, I remember the apartment that we had. There was just a foam on the floor. There was an altar, a Tulsi Devi, some dishes, but it was really, really simple. I think we had some pictures and a rocking chair.
Yep, so did we.
But pretty much that was it.
The altar was boards and those crates.
Milk crates.
Yes, milk crates, but also like bricks, those bricks.
Yes.
That look like lotuses in a way. You know,
they had, yeah, so there was these, they just
bricks.
Basically stacked stuff and put boards on it. And it was so simple and without accumulating so many material things. And the devotees had that kind of mood of dedication. What is the use of accumulating so many nice material things? We don't know when we're going to leave this world, but let us use our full energy in the service of Guru and Gauranga and Radha and Krishna.
And that is also part of Caitanya Bhagavat.
Yes, and we're going to get there. Rudra Prabhu, yes, for us tomorrow is Narasingha Chaturdashi for us.
Found out for sure?
In Vrindavan, yeah.
Okay.
Well, today is Trayodashi, right? Yeah, tomorrow for us in Vrindavan is Narasingha Chaturdashi.
I just remember you going crazy today about it.
Oh no, that was about someone else's question.
Oh, okay.
Someone was asking a question how they're supposed to follow Narasingha Chaturdashi when they are following Ekadashi the day before. And I was thinking, is it possible to have Ekadashi the day before Narasingha Chaturdashi? Even if you follow Ekadashi on the next day, which is Dwadashi, it still won't overlap into Chaturdashi. There's always the day in between.
Sorry.
So, okay, now we are going to chant the first verse of Sri Caitanya Bhagavat.
Deho.
Everyone, are you ready? Are you learning the verse? Text 1. Ajanu Lambita Bhujo Kanakavadato Sankirtanaika Pitaro Kamalaya Taksho Vishvambharo Dvijavaro Yugadharma Palo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karunavataro. Thank you. Interesting question. And an interesting follow-up question. Okay, I'm going to go back a little bit. This Ekadashi, we also had Dwadashi on the same day. Technically what happens is, according to Hari Bhakti Vilas, if your Ekadashi, if the day does not start off, even that 1 second being Ekadashi, if the Titi of Ekadashi starts even 1 second later, then it is considered an impure Titi or an impure time period. In which case, because that day did not begin as Ekadashi, but Ekadashi started even a second after the day began, then you would have to follow it the next day. Maybe from your perspective, I should go like this. You would have to follow it the next day. And that day would literally be starting on the pure Ekadashi Titi. And even if it ends 1 second after that day begins, still at that moment it is still the pure Ekadashi Titi. So then you would continue following through that day, and that day then becomes known as a Mahadvadashi. The next day after Ekadashi, Ekadash means 11, Dvadash means 12, Trayodash means 13, Chaturdash means 14. So the 11th day is Ekadashi. If it is not starting on the pure day, then it overlaps into the next day. So you follow it on the Mahadvadashi. That is what a Mahadvadashi is. And then sometimes there will come a Trayodashi after the Ekadashi and the Dwadashi. There's always a Trayodashi, and that might be the day of Vishnu Tattva, like Nityananda Trayodashi. In which case it creates a complication for fasting, because on Vishnu Tattva days you're supposed to fast. And on Ekadashi you're supposed to fast. Well, if you're following the fast on Dwadashi, then how are you going to break it on Trayodashi if it's a Vishnu Tattva day? According to Hari Bhakti Vilas, one should fast like Ekadashi fast for all Vishnu Tattva days. So then we have a complication. What are you supposed to do? Well, technically, one should fast Nirjala, complete Nirjala fast, no water on the Ekadashi. The next day on the Mahadvadashi. The next day on the Trayodashi. This also happens with Ekadashi and Vaman Dvadashi. So the same principle is there. The following day, because you have not taken any water, you can break with Charanamrit. It is technically considered breaking and also not breaking, as we have seen in the history of Ambarish Maharaj. So you can break, you must break on the next day. Actually, Gurudeva said that Charanamrit can be water. Just the water which has bathed the feet of the Lord. So you take one drop of that. Then you can continue fasting the entire day, or whenever the appearance time is of that deity, like Narasimha Bhagavan, he appeared at twilight. So then after that there's break fast. When the break fast is there, you will still follow it as Ekadashi. Meaning don't take grains or beans or anything else, but you can take whatever the prasadam is that has been given. Or you can continue fasting because you've already taken that drop of water. And then the next day at the Paran time, if you break and you take Ekadashi prasadam on the day of the Vishnu Tattva, then the next day at the break time, then you will take grains. If you take only water, then the next day, well, anyhow, you can break it like you normally break the Ekadashi on the next day at the time of Paran. So there's some prescriptions given in Shastra and Hari Bhakti Vilas, and by our Guru Varga, they have clarified all of these points. If you're not able to observe Nirjala on the day of Ekadashi or Mahadvadashi without water, then our Gurudev said, he said it as a sign of weakness. He said previously in India everyone would fast. Only the very elderly and the young children did not. And they all did Nirjala, without water. So it's a sign of our weakness that we can't do that, or if we don't. But anyhow, if you can't follow, if you only follow like a normal Ekadashi, then if you break on the next day, then it's on the Vishnu Tattva day, then you would apologize, beg forgiveness from your weakness, and then just take what is necessary and then continue on. So this is something to consider. Is Narasimha a manifestation of Srimati Radharani? Narasimha is Vishnu Tattva. So technically you would say he's a manifestation of Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. He is also Leela Avatar. Krishna, Baladev Prabhu, from him Mool Sankarshan, Mahasankarshan, Chaturvyuha. Next, Chaturvyuha, which is Vasudev Sankarshan Pradumna Aniruddha in Vaikuntha. And then from there you get Karanadakshaya Vishnu, Garbhadakshaya Vishnu, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. And Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is the form of the Lord that Lord Brahma prays to and who manifests the avatars. So Narasimha Bhagavan would be manifesting by that medium, although we understand that he has his eternal abode in Vaikuntha Dham. If Radhika is the Purna Shakti of Krishna, the complete potency, how does anyone accomplish any task? By their potency. So you can say that the power to move, the power to make a sound, the power to swing your head, to do anything. This is Shakti. In essence, Krishna and Srimati Radhika are non-different. So you wouldn't call her you wouldn't call Narasimhadev Bhagavan a manifestation of Srimati Radhika, but in essence, he is Bhagavan with his potency. Therefore, you could say that, yes, Radha and Krishna are within. Is he a manifestation of her man mode? I have never heard that, and I don't know where you might have heard that. One thing our Srila Gurudev explained, and this is a difficult pill to swallow, but it makes sense if you understand Purna Shakti Tattva, or complete potency Tattva. We won't tell this tomorrow, but we'll tell it today. He says, Srimati Radhika has more power in her little toenail than 10,000 Narasimhadevs. And that's just an unbelievable thing to try to comprehend. But at the same time, when she is in Man, the source of the source of the source of the source of everything is falling at her feet and begging for her shelter. Smaragarakandanam mamashirashimandanam dehi patapalamamudaram. So, from that perspective, you can say, absolutely yes. If Krishna is the source of all incarnations, and that original Krishna himself is subservient and completely controlled by her love and affection, then, in essence, you can understand how much potency she has. She is the full, complete potency of Krishna. But I've never heard that Narasimhadev Bhagavan is the manifestation of Srimati Radharani's mood of Man. I know that he's the personification of Krishna's anger. He's also non-different from the Sudarshan Chakra, which is the Krishna's own, it's himself manifesting in the form of this anger, which is for the purpose of protecting the devotees, bringing all auspiciousness, but also killing the demons. Okay. Rudra Prabhu, maybe you should take some more water. A lot of water. It's also, the weather has shifted again. It's getting hot. So I hope you'll be feeling better soon. So, before entering into this beautiful transcendental literature properly, we will pray to Sri Vrindavana Dasa Thakura, the author, and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, the commentator, that may even a particle of their moods which are present within these pages manifest itself within our hearts. Sri Vrindavana Dasa Thakura ki jai, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura Prabhupada ki jai. So now we are in chapter 1, text 13. And Vrindavana Dasa Thakura, because Nityananda Prabhu is his guru and his Lord and Master, you start sensing his akantic, one-pointed, almost obsessive mood toward Sri Nityananda Prabhu. So here we are in text 13. Maharatna Tviyena Mahapriyasthane Yashoratna Bhandara Shri Ananta Vadane. Lord Ananta's mouths are the storehouse of the gem-like glories of Lord Krishna, for valuable jewels are kept in a most appropriate place. So Ananta's mouths are the storehouse of the gem-like glories of Krishna. Valuable jewels are kept in the most appropriate place. He's always glorifying Krishna. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada comments, the word tui in this verse means to keep. Let me pronounce that properly. Tui. We know that our Param Gurudev was called Tui by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. For most of the disciples, when they would offer pranam to him, he would offer his pranam back. He would fold his hands and bow his head and say to them, Dasosmi, I am your servant. But with our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj, he had quite an intimate relationship, and he would refer to him as Tui, which is very, very sweet, intimate, lacking formality. It's very familiar. He came to him when he was quite young, and at that time there weren't many people, many disciples. And so he would refer to him as Tui, and our Param Gurudev would offer pranam from behind so that his Gurudev would not say to him, Dasosmi. But there's a difference between T-U-I and T-H-U-I. So the word Tui in this verse means to keep. As people keep valuable jewels in the care of a dear and faithful person, Sri Gaurasundar Mahaprabhu, who is non-different from the son of the king of Braj, has kept the unlimited treasure of his qualities and pastimes with Ananta Dev, who is the plenary portion of Baladev Nityananda. Thus, Gaura gives the 1,000-headed Ananta Dev the opportunity to serve him by reciting his glories in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Gaura is giving Anantadev the opportunity to serve him by reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Ananta is described by Sri Shukadev Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit in Srimad Bhagavatam 5.25.1 as follows. My dear king, approximately 240,000 miles beneath the planet Patala lives another incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the expansion of Lord Vishnu known as Lord Ananta or Lord Sankarshan. He is always in the transcendental position, but because he is worshipped by Lord Shiva, the deity of Tamogun or darkness, he is sometimes called Tamasi. Interesting. So, within the material world, of course, within the material universe, there are so many different levels, and I don't know all of them off by heart, but there are so many different levels in terms of their depth of goodness, passion, or ignorance. So here it is said, beneath Patal Lok. Patal is said to be like the subterranean heavenly planets, sometimes said to be hellish. Why? Because it is devoid of any knowledge of bhakti, anything about the soul. And so this realm also has so many inhabitants. The universe is full of so many planets with so many inhabitants. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, according to all the Vedas and Shastras and Puranas and everything else, the idea that only the Earth planet has life or is habitable is quite a, what's the word for it? Egocentric idea. That there's only life on this one dinky little planet in the middle of the entire cosmic manifestation of this universe, which is unfathomable on its own. And it has so many planetary systems, so many galaxies, millions and millions of planets within it. And the universe itself is only one of millions and millions and millions of universes. Our universe is currently in the expanding phase, and after some time it will go into the contraction phase. So it expands out to a certain point, and then as Mahavishnu breathes in, it contracts again and enters into its primordial state. So, beneath Patal Lok, approximately 240,000 miles beneath the planet Patala, lives another incarnation of the Supreme Lord, and that is Anantadev or Sankarshan. He is always in the transcendental position, but because he is worshipped by Lord Shiva, the deity of Tamogun or darkness, he is sometimes called Manasi. Sorry, not Manasi, Tamasi. In his commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam 5.17.17, Srila Madhvacharya quotes from the Brahmanda Purana as follows. Anantantas tito Vishnur anantascha sahamuna because Vishnu is the shelter of the unlimited, he is called Ananta, or unlimited. Ananta. Anta means end or limit, and Ananta means without limit or unlimited. So because Vishnu is the shelter of the unlimited, Vishnu means all-pervading, ever-expanding. Vishnu. So, because he's the shelter of the unlimited, he is called Ananta, or unlimited. In part 2 of the Vishnu Purana, 5:13 to 27, there is a description of Anantashesha's unlimited prowess. He is the object of all devotees' worship. He possesses 1,000 hoods or heads. He holds a club and plow, and he has various opulences, such as an enormous body. So, the Anantashesha that we have within this universe is a particular form. There's also Anantashesha which the Lord is lying upon. Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is resting upon on the Garbhodak ocean, and then another Anantashesha that Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is resting upon on the Kshirsagar, or the ocean of milk. And then there's the form of Anantashesha which is within this universe, who is basically maintaining this universe. That one 240,000 miles beneath Patal, the planet known as Patala. And then of course there's the Anantashesha outside of this universe. It is said that he holds millions of universes on his hoods. So there's no end to the endless. Ananta Shesh. I hope that made sense. I did mention the subterranean heavenly planets. It's basically the same kind of enjoyment that you can find in the heavenly planets. Endless. But in the heavenly planets, they have an idea of Bhagavan. They worship Bhagavan in the form of Vamandev. They're also excessively enjoying, but they have an idea of God and of the soul and of so many things like that. In the subterranean heavenly planets, they don't have these ideas, the soul, God, or anything. They're just enjoying, kind of like what's happening in the world today in the atheistic means. They don't believe in God. They think it's all just speculation and mythology, and life is meant for enjoyment. So, all kinds of sensual pleasures and intoxications and everything, and that's the norm. When we went to China for discussion about yoga, that's where the name Music of Yoga came from. We had a name for our group, and we were singing bhajans of the saints of 500 years ago and explaining them. We were quite surprised. We were invited to some people's homes, and we were speaking about the soul and reincarnation. People were like, the soul? Not everyone is like that. There are so many that have that understanding, but I was surprised to see that some had never even heard of this concept before. The soul and reincarnation of the soul, or transmigration. And God, or what, it was all kind of distant, and I just didn't conceive that someone would see it as a distant conception, but yet there it was. It was quite interesting to experience that. But in these subterranean heavenly planets, there it is only based on sensual pleasure, and because it is only based on that, it is said that those personalities are demonic in nature. And that place is illuminated, it is said, by the jewels on the heads of serpents. You can read all about this in Srimad Bhagavatam if you're interested. It is there. So there's so many histories. In the subterranean heavenly planets, I'm not sure about Patal. No, Patal Lok is said to be beneath this planetary system. So there are hellish planets, but there are also subterranean heavenly planets. Now, subterranean you would think would be inside the earth. Some might see it like that. Some may see it as a planet beneath the earth. Some are very close to the earth planet. We can't see them necessarily, but from time to time they may be able to visit. The possibility for other creatures from other planets to come and visit the earth is not only very possible, according to our Vedic scriptures, it has happened many, many times. The demigods would come here all the time, and actually the original Aryans were children of the gods, the original humans. And of course Lord Brahma created all of the species, so it's all intertwined with the entire universal conception. It's not that we're alone on this little dot floating through space. You know that little blue dot? They have that picture from a satellite of the Earth from space, and it's just a blue dot the further they're going away. So all of these conceptions are spoken about in Srimad Bhagavatam. Really, still now, most people never hear about the soul of Angalata. You have a busy job ahead of yourself. You have to share this good information. People need to know this. Otherwise, what is the use? They're just living and dying without any hope. It's like animal life. They need to know about the soul and about Krishna. And I know you've been doing your job very well. So I've seen all the videos. I'm very, very happy to see them. That question, Rudragupta, is a little bit advanced. But they might say, Krishna? Even that much is better than no Krishna. But Srimad Bhagavatam says that those who are not utilizing their human form for endeavoring for perfection, which is loving service to Krishna, the nature of the soul is to love and serve Krishna, then they're no different than walking dead bodies or two-legged animals. Or if you have heard about all of this and have knowledge of it and still don't engage in that process of searching after perfection, then what does it say? Sa'atmaha. Then it's no better than being a butcher or one who is a killer of their own soul. So there's so much scope in this world for sharing about Krishna. We can share about Krishna, or we can share about so many other things which will only keep people more and more confused in this material world. There's so many relative truths out there, but we have access and knowledge of the absolute truth. And our Guru Varga and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Rupa Goswami and all of our acharyas have given us that particular task, the task of sharing the absolute truth for the benefit of all. Savai Pungsang Paro Dharma, the supreme occupation for all humanity, the supreme occupation or duty. What is that? Yato Bhaktirad Hokshaje, is to develop bhakti, to love and serve Krishna. That is the supreme occupation. That is also the duty of all the Vaishnavas. Para Upakar, the greatest welfare work we can do is to share Krishna with others. Today there was a pretty amazing quote from Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. I believe it was posted by Shachi Martin, but I don't have access to it at the moment. But he was speaking about that those who are actually properly advancing, they won't have any concern about what is or what is not going on in the material world. Their concern is exclusively for Krishna and Krishna's service. This is the sign of progression on the path of devotion. Tandava Pranam Lalita Sakhi, Radhe Radhe. So, Sri Vrindavana Dasa Thakura continues. Text 14. Ateva age balarameras tabana korile se mukhe spure chaitanya kirtana. Therefore, in the beginning, I offer my prayers to Lord Balaram. so that the glories of Lord Chaitanya will manifest from my mouth. That's beautiful. If we want to be able to glorify the Lord, then we should take shelter of that person from whom the glories of the Lord are manifesting. That makes perfect sense. So the glories of the Lord are coming out. Who is glorifying the Lord? Baladev Prabhu, Ashray Tattva, Ananta Shesha, with his unlimited mouths, always glorifying the Lord. This Baladev Prabhu is non-different from Nityananda Prabhu. This Baladev Prabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, has manifested to us in the form of Guru. Guru is our Diksha Guru and all Shiksha Gurus. That means Vaishnavas, Guru and Vaishnavas. They are always speaking about Krishna because that is what has filled them. They don't fill themselves with all the nonsense of this world. They fill themselves with Krishna. Why? They have ruchi. Tunde tandavaniratim vitanote tundavali labdhe. How much nectar is just in this one name, these two syllables, Krishna, that I require millions of ears and millions of tongues to taste and drink the nectar of this name. And within this name, Amala Harinam Amiya Vilasa, within your pure holy names, all of your transcendental pastimes are present. So where is there the time for all of this other stuff? There is no other time. That is why Rupa Goswami recommends Kalam Nayed, without cessation. Tannama Rupa Charitari Sukirtananu. We spoke about it yesterday. And going back to the verse from Bhagavatam I've already quoted. Sabai Pungsang Paro Dharmo Yato Bhaktir Hokshaje Ahaituki Apratihata. There should be no material cause, meaning I'm not going to develop bhakti for the Lord for any material purpose, that I want some mundane thing in return. And apratihata also means without cessation. Always. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Always serving the Lord, always glorifying the Lord and His devotees. This is the, you could say, duty of those who are devotees, and especially of those who are endeavoring to become devotees, who are aspiring for that, to always remember Krishna and never forget Him, as Srila Prabhupada would say. Yes, that. Thank you, Rudra Prabhu. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj says, we can approach the Supreme Lord only through submission, and when we achieve Him, we won't care for knowing anything else. We will have no regard for what is happening or not happening in the outside world. We will deeply engage in His service for His satisfaction. There, in His service, we will find the object of our lives fulfilled. And this external knowledge of things outside will seem to us as rubbish. We will realize, what is the necessity of wasting time with all kinds of calculation? The nectar is here. It is far deeper than what is found on the external plane. And at that time, we shall give all of our attention to His service. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj. Thank you for sharing that, for posting it. So, here Vrindavana Dasa Thakura is praying to Baladev Prabhu. Baladev Prabhu has manifested to us. Nityananda Prabhu has manifested before us in the form of Sri Guru and Vaishnavas. So we pray to Guru, Vaishnavas, Nityananda Prabhu, Baladev Prabhu, please be merciful to us. You are the repository, in the previous verse, you are the storehouse of the gem-like glories of the Lord. All of those valuable jewels are kept in that most appropriate place. Please be merciful to me so that I will also be able to repeat your message and glorify the Lord as you are glorifying the Lord. This is also our prayer. So here Vrindavana Dasa Thakura is showing us properly how to pray. He's offering his prayers to Lord Balaram so that the glories of Lord Chaitanya will manifest from his mouth. By the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, one can attain the mercy of Caitanya Mahāprabhu. So he's praying to Baladev Prabhu so that he will have the adhikar, the qualification, to be able to glorify Sri Sachinandan Gaurahari Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada explains here, for further descriptions of the glories of Lord Balaram, please see Lord Shiva's prayers to Lord Sankarshan in the Srimad Bhagavatam 5:17-17-24. Sri Shukdev Goswami's prayers to Lord Sankarshan in Srimad Bhagavatam 5:25-1-13. Narada Muni's glorifications of Lord Sankarshan to King Chitraketu in the Srimad Bhagavatam 6:16-18-25. King Chitraketu's prayers to Sankarshan in the same chapter, verses 34-48, and Lord Krishna's prayers to Baladev in the Vishnu Purana, part 5, 9:22-31. By considering these statements from the scriptures, it is understood that the offering of prayers to Lord Nityanandaram, the personification of Vaishnava scriptures, or the glorification of his names and qualities, destroys a living entity's material designations and bondage, which are born of nescience. The purified living entity then accepts Lord Nityanandaram as his spiritual master, and with a purified tongue he glorifies the worshipable Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya under Nityananda Prabhu's guidance. So accepting Nityananda Prabhu as one's spiritual master doesn't mean necessarily directly. We will understand that our Gurudev is the representative of that Akhanda Guru Tattva Sri Nityananda Prabhu. And our Gurudev is as Sri Guru. So Gurudev is that mouth, that personality who is manifesting. That Tattva is manifesting via that medium as our Gurudev. So the purified living entity then accepts Lord Nityanandaram as his spiritual master. That means the master who has already attained perfection and can guide us on the path to spiritual perfection. They are the spiritual master because they're a master. It's not someone who is partially there or a little bit there or maybe a little further along the way. They can help a little bit, but a master is something different. Master is someone who has mastered something. They have become perfect in that. And then they can help us with that. That's why we follow the path of the Mahajans. Mahajano yena gata sapanta, because they are perfect. They have traversed that path. They know the path perfectly well, and they also will know how to guide others on that path. Text 15. Sahashreka panadhara Prabhu Balaram Dateka Koreye Prabhu Sakala Udam. Lord Balaram has thousands of hoods, and all of his activities are extraordinary. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada states, Lord Ananta's thousands of hoods are described in Lord Shiva's prayers to Lord Sankarshan in the Srimad Bhagavatam 5:17-21 as follows. All the great sages accept the Lord as the source of creation, maintenance, and destruction, although he actually has nothing to do with these activities. So Krishna himself in Vrindavan, although he is the source of everything, has nothing to do with creation, maintenance, and destruction. Not personally. He's creating mischief in Vrindavan by stealing butter, by untying the cows of the gopis and letting them run free, by calling all of the gopis to come to him in the middle of the night, by playing games with his friends and wrestling. This is some kind of creation. And, he's also maintaining all of Vrindavan. He is the Prananath, the Lord of their life. By his presence, they are able to breathe and live. So he's maintaining their life and also destruction. So he's also destroying so many things. He's destroying demons. He's also destroying pots of butter. When he goes to Mathura, he leaves everyone in a state of utter devastation when he goes to Dwarka. But this Krishna in Vrindavan has nothing to do with the activities, not directly, of creation, maintenance, destruction of the universes. Through a part of a part of a part of a part of a part, that is what he is doing. That is from Karana Dakshaya Vishnu, Garbha Dakshaya Vishnu, and then also the manifestations as Lord Shiva, Harihara Ekatma Rup. He does the dance of destruction. Through his manifestation as Lord Brahma, he is also creating inside by the power of the mantra, Kam Gayatri, that Brahma receives. Brahma is able to do his service of creating. But Krishna in Vrindavan, he doesn't have anything to do with that. Therefore, the Lord is called unlimited. Although the Lord in his incarnation as Shesha holds all of the universes on his thousands of hoods, each universe feels no heavier than a mustard seed to him. Therefore, what person desiring perfection will not worship the Lord? This is still part of that verse from Bhagavatam 5:17-21. Sri Shukadeva Goswami tells Maharaj Parikshit in the Srimad Bhagavatam 5:25-2, this great universe, situated on one of Lord Anantadev's thousands of hoods, appears just like a white mustard seed. It is infinitesimal compared to the hood of Lord Ananta. So Ananta has thousands of hoods, and our entire universe is like an infinitesimal small white mustard seed on his head. That's our entire universe. He doesn't even notice it. Makes you feel a little bit insignificant, doesn't it? That is the meaning of Vibhina Angsha. We are the most infinitesimal particles in all of creation. And yet, we look at ourselves in the mirror and think, I'm good. I'm smart. My ideas are brilliant. I think others should respect me. Forgetting our true position. Gurudev said, you should know you are like nothing. You are like a particle, and that particle is so small it can be covered by Maya at any moment. There's a quote. I'm paraphrasing the quote, but it's pretty much just like that. So if we have that conception and understanding, then we can approach the path of devotion and approach the Vaishnavas with a feeling and a belief in our infinitesimalness. That I am so small, I'm so insignificant, and yet I have that highest aspiration. In this connection, please see verses 12 and 13 of the same chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, quoted by the author as verses 56 and 57 of the first chapter. King Chitraketu also prays to Lord Sankarshan in the Srimad Bhagavatam 6:16-48 as follows. The Supreme Personality of Godhead holds all of the universes on his heads like seeds of mustard. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, that Supreme Personality, who has thousands of hoods. How come they're able to say the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Because Ananta Shesh is non-different from Baladev Prabhu. Baladev Prabhu is non-different from Krishna. So he is also the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he is functioning in a particular way. He's functioning in a mood of service. He's upholding the universes as service, and with his thousands of hoods, thousands of mouths, glorifying the Lord and his pastimes, always. This is his particular nature. So he has taken that bhav of ashray, or the repository of service to the Lord. And the Lord, or Krishna, in Vrindavan, and also other forms of Krishna, have this nature of Vishaya, the supreme enjoyer. But Baladev Prabhu's nature is to serve Krishna in every way, in every expansion. Yes, thank you, Rudra Prabhu. That is also something I was considering while I was speaking, because I quoted this quote the other day. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Srila Maharaj is saying that Mahaprabhu has come to us to recruit everyone for that highest quarter where the infinite, that means Vibhu, or the supreme, infinite, unlimited personality of Godhead, will be a slave. He becomes submissive and subservient to the finite, that is Vibhina. It is the impossible of the impossible, the inconceivable of the inconceivable, yet it is possible. Because love and affection in its purest form, even from the infinitesimal, by the will of the Lord, can control that supreme infinite personality of Godhead. That is unbelievable. So, the last paragraph here says, the word udama in this verse means independent or moving by one's own will, as well as exceedingly powerful. In this connection, one may refer to Srimad Bhagavatam 5:17, 17 to 24, 5:25, 1 to 13, and 6:16, 34 to 48. In other words, he's giving a lot of references to our Shastra, especially Srimad Bhagavatam. And for me also, this is quite eye-opening how much glorification there is of Lord Anantadev. Which means, especially of Srimad Bhagavatam, is the spotless praman, or the topmost evidence, the ripened fruit of all Vedic literature, and the self-manifesting commentary on all Vedanta Sutra. If this is our main scripture and there is nothing to be discarded from it, then we must acknowledge and glorify and serve Lord Anantadev, Lord Baladev, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, and of course the manifestations of Nityananda Prabhu as Sri Gurudev. So Srila Gurudeva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga ki jai, Patik Pavana Sri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Sri Ananta Shesha ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandan Gaur Hari ki jai, Radha Vinu Bihari Ju ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So next time we will start on text 16. Sri Caitanya Bhagavat ki jai, Vrindavana Dasa Thakura ki jai, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki jai. And tomorrow we will be observing Sri Narasingha Chaturdashi, which is the appearance day of the most fascinating, awesome, powerful, protective, hair-raising form of the Lord, Sri Narasingha Bhagavan. Sri Narasingha Bhagavan ki jai. Bhakta Parvar Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. So tomorrow, we're looking forward to a lot of excitement. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, hair raising, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Oh Hari Bol, 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 Hari Bol. Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada.
Hari Hari Bol.
Shri Gurudeva
Ki Jai.
Srila Prabhupada
Ki
ki
Jai.
jai, Rupa Gaudiya Guru Varga ki jai, Patit Pavana Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vinu Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Hari Rama Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti. Bolo Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jai 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 Shri Radhe, Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jai 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 Shri Radhe, Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jai 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 Shri Radhe. Shri Vinod Bihari Ju ki
Jai.
Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe,
Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam.
Devotees are asking if we're going to do Narasimha-Dev Katha like you did Ram Katha.
No, you speak on this. This is your genre.
So Jiva Pavan Prabhu just mentioned that today is the appearance of Jayananda Prabhu. It so happens that I actually met him when I was younger.
I usually post about him. I didn't
But
see
maybe
it.
it's not the tithi here
Oh,
yet.
okay.
So I remember him from when I was young. In fact, there are photographs of that time. He was always serving Srila Prabhupada in so many different ways, and Srila Prabhupada was very proud to have a son like him. I remember when he was building the Ratha Yatra, the chariots, and they were just in that parking lot just next to the temple, the ISKCON temple in Los Angeles. And of course the kids wanted to see all the work that was going on. They were putting little mirrors, sticking those on and painting them and building them.
The swans.
Yeah, and so my father was also helping, and I would go there with my father. Jayananda Prabhu at that time was actually quite ill, and still he was using as much energy as he could to serve. And I remember, he was very kind, very sweet, and very gentle. Very
Not all
nice.
the adults were.
Not all of the adults were, but he was.
Not to the kids.
But he was. So Jayananda Prabhu, he was serving with his life, day and night, always serving. I said life, right? Okay. So day and night, always serving, trying to help assist Srila Prabhupada in whatever services that Srila Prabhupada needed. So he is definitely a glorifiable personality. Srila Prabhupada himself, upon discovering or hearing of Jayananda Prabhu's departure, he mentioned that he was so proud to have had a son like Jayananda Prabhu. So on this day, I just pray that may even a drop of his moods of dedication and service, if that could manifest in our hearts, that we can also make our Gurudeva and our Guru Varga proud, like he made his Gurudev proud. Sri Jayananda Prabhu ki Jai. And Jayananda Thakur. Again, that is the Jayananda Prabhu we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. I just saw something here. Okay, so also I'd like to thank all of you for giving us the opportunity to remember the beautiful teachings of our Gurudev and our Guru Varga, and for being with us for this study of Sri Caitanya Bhagavat, the glories of Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Sachinandan Gaurahari. Also, we'd like to express our indebtedness to each and every one of you for daily giving us the opportunity to do our Guru Seva, which is our life and soul. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow for Sri Narasingha Chaturdashi. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Radhe Radhe.
Radha Vinu Bihari Ju Sachinandana Gaurahari
ki Jai. Kal milenge.
Kal milenge.
Jivriya Madhumani.
Mahashita.
Hasta mañana. Tat Morgan.
Jivriya Madhumani. Hasta mañana. Do you want to do it properly now?
No, we didn't.
We do it as a mantra. We're ready.
Jivriya Madhumani. Hasta mañana. Kal milenge. Tat Morgan. Radhe 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 Shyam. Hey Mom. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Bis morgen.